Hi, I'm Michael at Durofix, and as we are continuously improving our tools, today we're going to do some quality assurance HAVS testing. Every day, thousands of workers rely on power tools and machinery to get the job done, but hidden behind all the noise and motion is something that could be permanently damaging: hand-arm vibration. So what is hand-arm vibration? It's the transfer of vibration energy into the hands and arms, usually from power tools like grinders, wrenches or drills. And when that exposure builds up over time, it can lead to serious and often irreversible injury called hand-arm vibration syndrome, or HAVS for short. HAVS affects the blood vessels, nerves and joints in the hands and arms. It can cause pain, loss of strength, and in severe cases, make everyday tasks like holding a pen, using a phone, or turning a key incredibly difficult. These aren't just risks to the personnel, but organizations as well. Risks to your business include heavy fines, personal injury claims, HSE investigations, damaged morale, and lost productivity. And the risk for employees: Raynaud syndrome, often called white finger, carpal tunnel syndrome, trouble working in cold or damp conditions, a noticeable loss of grip strength, and reduced ability to perform fine or detailed tasks. But here, the important thing is HAVS is not a disease, it's an injury. And like any injury, it can be prevented. So what does the law say? As an employer, you're legally required to assess the risk of vibration injuries in the workplace. And to do that, you need to track two things. The first is the vibration exposure level. That's the amount of vibration produced by a specific tool measured in meters per second squared. The second is exposure time, also known as trigger time. This is the actual time the worker is exposed to vibration, not the length of the shift, but the time spent actively using the tool. And there's two metrics that are used to measure this. The exposure action value, which is 2.5 meters per second squared. If your worker hits this level, you must start taking steps to reduce the risk to meet or beat that. Then there's the exposure level, the exposure limit value at 5 meters per second squared. This is the legal maximum. It should never be exceeded. When you understand both exposure level and time, you can start making smart, data-driven decisions about tool use, scheduling, and worker safety, which is why we have enlisted the help of the Castle Group, which for 50 years has been at the forefront of environmental measurement and monitoring technology.
Yeah, I'm Anthony from Castle. We're based in Scarborough, and essentially we're an instrumentation, training and consultancy provider. So whether it's a noise meter, a vibration meter, or whether it's some kind of other services such as training for people that work at other companies, so that they're familiar or competent with HC requirements. So we do environmental work as well, so it's a full spectrum, and whatever it kind of comes down to acoustics wise or vibration wise, that's the industry we cater to. Any industry can obviously be at risk from HAVS, but ultimately it's something where you've got a long use of the tool, which has quite a high vibration magnitude. So landscaping teams using screws, chainsaws, or from the flip side of that, quarries that are using pneumatic chisels. Any tool that you're physically gripping whilst you're at work can produce vibration that can affect everybody in all industry. Yeah, well, essentially what we use is instrumentation, which is kind of like a data logger and an accelerometer. And that accelerometer has three different axes, so we've got an X, Y, and Z. So essentially, you get the tool, figure out where somebody holds that tool, whether it's left or right handle, and then you basically align the axes, so you've got X going into the hand, Y going across the hand, and Z going up the arm. And essentially you do a representative measurement with that transducer attached to the tool, get the person to use it how they normally would, and then you get the vector sum as a result of that at the end. Well, it's all down to managing the vibration exposure. So you've got, with the vibration at work regulations, we have action levels and limit levels. So when a company allows an employee to get to the action level, they've got to try to cut down that vibration. Look at if it's job rotation, but there's another tool that's better for the task, is there some isolation that can be applied guidance-wise, or anything to reduce it. Whereas the limit value is that point you cannot let the employees go over. Ultimately, you can let people go up to the limit value, which would be 5 meters a second, but you've got to start taking action at 2.5 meters a second. So obviously, the more, whether you're at 5 meters a second or above, that then cuts down how long you can use each tool for in a working day. And a lot of people forget that it's not that you can use that one tool and say, well, I can use this for an hour, for example, with a high vector sum. You then can't touch any other tool. That's it. You've had your daily exposure to vibration.
Thanks, Anthony. So today we've had a wide variety of tools that are performed under 2.5 meters per second squared. And here are a few of the top performers with the EAV max time for reference. There's the 50 Nm RZ2013 Oil Pulse tool, which is certified at 1.26 meters per second squared, which allows a trigger time of over 24 hours. There's the 12 Nm RZ4014 clutch tool at 1.48 meters per second squared with a max duration trigger time of over 22 hours. And finally, the 90 Nm RZ4014 Oil Pulse tool, recorded in at 2.29 meters per second squared with a trigger time max duration of 9.5 hours. Please do bear in mind that these EAV times are against the time when using the tool and doesn't account for breaks or when the tool is not in use. All of these tools ensure a safe working environment on a full shift. Thanks for watching, and for further information please visit durofix.co.uk